Hello and Happy New Year! I'm your host of Franchise, and welcome back to another episode of Anime Bucket Quest. Today we're tackling a giant. Nope, not a literal giant like an Attack on Titan, but a conceptual one. We are diving headfirst into a series that's infamous for being dense, bizarre, visually overwhelming, and deeply hypnotic. It's a show that filters out casual viewers within the first 5 minutes. Today, we review the star of the legendary Monogatari franchise, Bakemonogatari. Aired in 2009 and produced by the eccentric studio Shaft, Bakemonogatari is based on the light novels by Nisio Isin. Why I say this show is, quote, dialogue heavy, I definitely mean it. 90% of this anime is just people standing in rooms talking. But oh man, what talking it is. The premise seems simple enough. You got Koyomi Araragi. He's a high school student who briefly became a vampire during spring break and is now mostly human again, thanks to a bizarre specialist named Meme Oshino, living in an abandoned cram school. Araragi finds himself a magnet for girls suffering from supernatural affliction known as oddities, or Kai. It starts when a classmate, the aloof Hitagi Senjougahara, falls down a flight of stairs into his arms and he discovers she weighs almost nothing. Literally nothing. 0 pounds. From there, Araki gets involved with a lost snail spirit, a cursed monkey's paw, a snake curse, and a stress-induced cat spirit. But don't come into this expecting a monster of the week action show. The supernatural elements are secondary. They are physical manifestations of psychological trauma, guilt, and repressed emotions. This is a show about broken people talking themselves in and out of circles and they confront their own baggage. It's like you're pretty much you're playing kind of like the role of the psychiatrist, listening to these kids pretty much venting about their problems. So, what is it actually like to watch Bakemonogatari? In my own personal word, I can give it one thing: it's overwhelming. This anime is the definitive collaboration between author Nisio Isin's manic wordplay and director Akiyuki Shimbo's avant-garde visual style. If you ever heard the shaft head tilt, this is where it lives. If you talk about the tilt, it's pretty much if you tilt your head a little bit to the left, to your left, when somebody says something pretty much ironic. The visuals are wildly experimental. The backgrounds are often sparse, surreal landscapes that look like modern art installations rather than real places. The show constantly cuts to screens full of rapid-fire text, excerpts from the light novel that flash by too quickly to read completely. So when I was watching the episodes, I really had to literally pause to see what that dialogue was. It's disorienting on purpose. It forces you to pay extreme attention. That's why I had to go back and rewatch the episodes just to see what those dialogue were between scenes. And you have to pay attention because the dialogue is blisteringly fast. The characters speak in riddles, puns, meta references, and philosophical tangents. A 10-minute conversation might only advance the plot by 30 seconds, but it tells you everything about who these characters are. The structure is broken into character arcs of 2 to 5 episodes each, focusing on a different heroine. And while Araki is the lens we view this through, the girls are technically the stars of the show. Especially Senjougahara, whose sharp tongue and aggressive deconstruction of the tsundere trope makes her one of the most memorable heroines in anime history. Watching Bakemonogatari isn't passive. It's an active engagement with a piece of art that refuses to hold your hand. Now, let's open the book for our source material showdown. How does the Shaft anime compare to Nisio Isin's original light novels? For years, Nisio Isin's work was considered, quote, unadaptable. His writing is incredibly dense, filled with pages upon pages of Araragi's internal monologue, tangents that go nowhere, and deeply untranslatable Japanese wordplay. A straightforward adaptation would just be an audiobook with still pictures. Studio Shaft's genius was realizing they couldn't just adapt the story. They had to adapt the feeling of reading the book. Those flashes of text on the screen I mentioned before, those are slices of Araragi's internal narration that they couldn't fit into spoken dialogue. The bizarre, shifting visuals are physical representations of the characters' mental states. Wow, when Araragi is confused, the world looks confusing. When Senjougahara feels threatened, the animation becomes sharp and hostile. While the anime is incredibly faithful to the plot and dialogue of the novels, it elevates the material by translating text into pure visual metaphor. It is a widely considered one of the best light novel adaptations ever made because it understands that anime and prose are different mediums, and it uses the strengths of animation to compensate for what's lost from the book. And now, the final hurdle, the great debate: dub or sub. For almost every other anime we reviewed, I said there are merits to both. For Bakemonogatari, I had to draw the line. This show must be experienced in sub. Here's my reason why. The entire premise of the show's humor and mystery is built on the Japanese language. The names of the quote oddities, the constant punning between characters, the misinterpretations of kanji characters, these are the very DNA of the script. Translating Nishio Isin into English is already a Herculean task for subtitles. Trying to dub it while matching lip flaps is nearly impossible without rewriting half the jokes. Furthermore, the original Japanese voice cast is legendary. Hiroshi Kamiya as Araki delivers paragraphs of dialogue at breakneck speed with incredible nuance. Chiwa Saito as Senjougahara managed to sound terrifying, alluring, and vulnerable all in the same breath. The cadence, rhythm, and speed of the original Japanese performances are integral to the Monogatari experience. There is an English dub for Bakemonogatari that was released many years later, and while the actors do an admirable job with impossible material, I was able to find a few clips myself, it simply could not capture the linguistic gymnastics of the original. To truly understand this show, you need to hear it as it was written. So, how does Bakemonogatari belong on your anime bucket list? This is a tough one because it's absolutely not for everyone. If you want action, clear-cut plots, or easy viewing, I would recommend to stay far away. You will hate this. But if you are interested in anime as an art form, in visual storytelling that pushes boundaries, and in dialogue that is smarter than you are, then yes, it is essential. Bakemonogatari is a unique, hypnotizing experience that defines an entire era of anime aesthetics. It challenges you, confuses you, and eventually mesmerizes you. If you're ready for the deep end of the anime pool, dive into Bakemonogatari. Just watch out for falling staplers. You're able to catch the first 12 episodes on Crunchyroll, but unfortunately for the last 3 episodes of the last arc of the first season, I had to go through third-party means to find it, and you can only find the sub version. I was able to find dub based on clips, but I do recommend the sub. So, that's it for this week's episode of Anime Bucket Quest. Make sure to check out past episodes for audio versions on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, and many other platforms. You can also follow the podcast on YouTube at Anime Bucket Quest. Make sure to like and subscribe. Keep your head tilted at a jaunty angle, and I'll see you on the next adventure. This is the franchise saying, geek on, take care, and watch anime. Till next time.